Hello and welcome to Camp Xbox. Rare has been around for years and years, and if we go all the way back to their origins, you can find Jetpac, an arcade game that was a huge hit. Well, in 2007, Rare brought this back to the Xbox Live Arcade with Jetpac Refuelled. I played through it recently, and let me give you some history along with a review. All footage was captured off of an Xbox Series X, and I'd like to thank my YouTube channel members for their support. But let's go ahead and hop into the history of this one. Jetpac's origins can be traced back to Ultimate Play the Game, a company founded by brothers Tim and Chris Stamper, both of whom had worked in the game industry for a long time but wanted to work on their own games. It's at this company they would work on their first game, Jetpac. Released in 1983 for the ZX Spectrum, Jetpac was a simplistic arcade game where you play as Jetman, who rebuilds his rocket and gets fuel into it to leave various planets. Along the way, you kill enemies and collect items for points, enduring the challenge to get the highest score. Something about the floatiness of the Jetpac controls and easy to understand, hard to master gameplay hooked people, allowing it to sell 300,000 copies, and it earned Ultimate over £1 million. Jetpac would get two sequels, Lunar Jetman released the same year, and Solar Jetman released in 1990, though by that point, Ultimate had become the Rare we know of today. At this point, the Jetman series lay dormant for a long period of time. Various other Rare games, mainly for Nintendo, would be released. Yet in 2002, Rare would be purchased by Microsoft, and they would start developing for them, which if you look back at the beginning of the 360, they had a huge start for the console, launching the 360 with both cameo elements of power and Perfect Dark Zero. By 2006, they had added Viva Pinata onto the pile. Yet behind the scenes, they were returning to an old classic, wanting to make their first Xbox Live Arcade game. With that, they would try out Jetpac once again. Though they weren't just going to port the original game, they felt that since they were Rare, they needed to make more of it, and they decided to remake the game while keeping the original in the package. It's not a direct remake though. They wanted to change some elements while keeping the gameplay loop intact. They were allowed to work on this game free from management, working weeks on it, and then managers would look at it, offering fresh eyes without getting in the way of creativity. Rare would officially announce the game on February 22, 2007, just a month away from its release on March 28, 2007, launching at the price point of 400 Microsoft points or just $4.99. Personally, I do not have any history with this game till it was included with Rare Replay. There, I played a good amount of this and the original game, which were packed in. It's been a while though, but I was interested in returning to it, and I played it recently, so let me tell you how that went, starting with the gameplay. In Jetpac Refuelled, you play as a Jetman, moving from level to level, refueling your rocket ship and venturing off to new planets. Along with that, you have to rebuild your rocket ship every 4 levels, and luckily once you reach these levels, you can restart your run from there with a total of 128 levels in the game. This game is fairly simple gameplay-wise. You move around several levels with many platforms and enemies. You move from platform to platform collecting fuel along with scoring items. You can shoot your laser guns to kill enemies along the way. Once the fuel of your ship has reached its limit, you are good to fly off to the next level. This is pure arcadey gameplay at its core, and that is what makes Jetpac Refuelled work as effectively as it does. It's simple in design, addictive in its fast loop, and yet it's difficult to master. So the game wraps around on both ends of the screen, and enemies can move around them as well as you. So the screen works as a loop. This works for projectiles too, so you must always be thinking about this more than just a simple one-screen arcade game. Mix this with a ton of enemies, and you have something chaotic, which can be fun, where dodging and shooting enemies is a blast, but once you get deep into the game's later levels, you will be entrenched. To a level that sometimes I found unfun and too much. Yet for most of the game, I felt the challenge to fun ratio was well met. Luckily, this game employs a bomb power-up that allows you to take out the whole screen of enemies, which does help. These can be picked up from random drops along with weapon upgrades. New to this entry is the ability to change your weapon from a regular shot to a shot with an upwards beam and a third spreading shot. Collecting more power-ups will cycle through these, but you will get stronger as long as you don't die. This is a nice incentive in this game to keep you trying to avoid death so you can hold on to your power, though that is easier said than done. One cool feature of this mix, though, is that you can carry fuel to your ship, which actually allows you to take a hit. Without it, you die upon touching an enemy, but the fuel can act as a buffer, giving you some leeway when carrying fuel to the ship, allowing you to try to mix a bit of strategy into managing items that you have, something that fleshed out this game a little bit more. The controls make this work too. You can shoot and hold it down, but it's the gravity of the jetpack that makes it feel so good. I love the feeling of hovering or doing bunny jumps by tapping the right trigger to slowly bounce along the screen. It feels tight and controlled, but it has an uncertainty that keeps you on your toes because you can slide slightly, giving it a flavor of Joust, where good gameplay requires attention and discipline. Yet that is about it as far as gameplay goes. This game is simple, yet that's why I kept going back to it and kept chugging along. Levels are blazingly fast, and so are losses, so it's easy to get right back into the game after you lose. Though the screens can fill with intense enemies, I never felt it ruin the game. Sure, it could be unfair with high spawn rates, but you move on to the next level fast enough that it stops mattering. So that constant flow keeps this arcadey fun and never overstays its welcome, making for a great little play session whenever you want to chip away at some achievements. It's also worth noting that the original Jetpack was included in this package, so you could go back and play the ZX Spectrum version. It's much like the refueled version, but much more stripped back. There are no free hits, there's less enemies, and there's no weapon upgrades. This game might be simplistic, but the fast arcade action is still there, and I still have a good time with it. The simple look is charming even now, and this is just one of those games that remains fun to me, no matter how it looks, so I'm happy that it's included here. It was later included in Rare Replay, but I'm sure for those nostalgic with this game, this was a nice treat to revisit it back in 2007. Jetpac did come with multiplayer, but it's fairly limited to say the least. I also want to give a shout out to Printmatic for playing this with me. The multiplayer here is very basic. You have two ships and you have to build them against each other and then fill it up with your own fuel as fast as possible, with the goal being to leave the planet first. It's the same gameplay of moving and shooting, but now you have to race against another player. The goal is to get the most points by the end of a set time limit going from planet to planet. I had some fun with it, but there were some issues with the core gameplay. There is a way to shoot the fuel out of other players' hands, but it was very inconsistent, and the game seems heavily host-sided overall. It's good for some short fun, but that's it. After I finished one match of this, I knew I understood it, and I knew there was no need to go back because it was just the same thing over and over. There are no other game modes. There is not much to do here. I wish a co-op mode was here. Playing through the main game with another player really could have helped with this game's replayability. On top of that, though, there is leaderboards that track your scores with both the retro and new versions of the game, which are still up, so if you're in the leaderboards, definitely check that out. Visually, Jetpac Refuelled is clean. In my eyes, the game's look is comparable to a good Flash game, which isn't a bad thing. It has a distinct mid-2000s vibe, and I think it has charm. Everything looks very 2D with different planes, but they're not flush with each other. It gives each enemy and the lead character a dynamic look that works well together. All the enemies in this game can be staggering, and they all have silly, goofy faces. It's very lighthearted with a bright color aesthetic that makes it feel fresh. Yet there are lighting effects here that I hate. It's on elements effects like your laser beams or light emanating off of items, they have a really bright shine to them. It's an overuse of brightness and bloom, and it makes the playfield messy and sometimes hard to look at. Not always, but sometimes it will block your vision, making you miss certain enemies and making it easier to die. And now this just wasn't very good to me. Yet otherwise, it's a simple look that keeps the game together, along with a simple soundtrack, with a song that emulates the original theme that plays in the background. It's a fun, catchy little song, and I quite liked it. This mixed with all the sounds of death alongside it works. The lasers are going off, things are exploding, and there's noises of flying all mixed together, which matches the chaos on screen, but it's never unpleasant. There are general noises always, but I think they're punchy and get your heart rate going when you're going against a full screen of enemies. So the sound is effective and simple overall, making for a nice arcade title. Since this is a 360 game, let's take a look at the achievements, though this has no bearing on the final consensus. Jetpac has 12 achievements totaling at 200 gamer score. These achievements are considered fairly difficult, with true achievements tracking that 72,000 people have started it and only 742 of those have 100%ed it, meaning 1% of gamers have completed it. There are some simple achievements here, such as beating the first level, beating the third level without shooting, and fully upgrading your laser weapons. On top of that, you have achievements for completing the first 44 levels and one for completing all 128, which luckily you get checkpointed every 4 levels, but some of these 4-level stretches are brutal and it feels like you don't have enough lives to get through it. I think this stops a lot of people and it becomes the rarest achievement of the group, with only 1,087 tracked people having beat every level in this game, which means 2% of gamers. With that, there are a few achievements for multiplayer, and funny enough, this game has a viral achievement named Infection. It's worth a whole 0 gamer score and is only obtainable from someone who has the achievement, and I think Jetpac Refuelled is such an odd game to have a viral achievement. The cherry on top is the achievement for completing all 16 levels of the original game, which to me is pretty brutal. So overall, it's a tough game to complete and a bit of a grind because it is a lot of the same thing over and over. Yet if you find this game fun, I feel like it's not going to be too bad, but you are going to be picking away at it. I personally did not go for the 100% this time around, but I still feel I had a good time nonetheless. Jetpac Refuelled is a fun throwback to a classic style of game, something easy to get into but extremely difficult, throwing tons of enemies at you with a weak feel. Yet it goes by so fast and it's easy to keep going. It's a game I consistently return to for quick sessions, and to me it makes for a great Xbox Live Arcade game. It's not anything perfect, but it is fun when you do get a little bit further in it. It has a solid look sometimes, though the brightness is a little annoying. I think the music and noises are good, and the controls overall are very entertaining, and I think this makes for a very memorable release. I have now reviewed 16 Xbox Live Arcade games here on Camp Xbox, and if I were to rank them up, this would enter in at number 9. I find this one more replayable than Harm's Way. Despite Harm's Way being a good game, it's a game low on content, and Jetpac does offer a little bit more in terms of replayability. Yet Doritos Crash Course has a more entertaining gameplay style and has far more variety, which makes it a stronger game in this ranking list. According to Metacritic, Jetpac Refuelled received mixed reviews with a 73 average. IGN gave it an 8, saying it was a wonderful take on an average classic, saying it was great for only $5. GameSpot would give it a 7.2, saying that it was addictive with a good look, but felt there wasn't variety, making it repetitive. Official Xbox Magazine would give it a 6, which they thought it was nice to play an obscure retro game, but found the gameplay tired and that it never changed the core gameplay, feeling like a cheap Flash game. Well, with that, this game came and went, and this franchise never saw anything else, and that's until 2015's Rare Replay, which was a collection of rare games from the past for the Xbox One. All 3 original Jetman games made it into the collection, as well as today's Jetpac Refuelled. It was made backwards compatible on modern Xbox consoles, and since Rare Replay will forever be a Game Pass game, that makes this game readily available to many, and most likely accounts for those high numbers of people who have started it. Nowadays, though, I'm surprised how much more I seem to like it than most. I do see some good things, but overall, I don't see a lot of people who enjoyed this one. On Backlogged, it has over 200 plays, but has a 2.5 average out of 5, and the reviews drag this one down, pretty much for its flash game look and repetitive style, yet I think that's some of its charm. Yet, I'm interested in how you felt about this one. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Have you ever played it before? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this review, please leave a like as it really helps me out in the algorithm. Subscribe to keep up with more retro Xbox videos, and check out my second channel, Camp Extras, for more gaming videos. And I want to give a huge shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you so much for your support. You really help out the channel, and I'll see you here next time at Camp Xbox.